Think your lashes have hit their limit? Discover limitless length and full volume with Maybelline Sky High Mascara. The Flex Tower brush bends to volumize and extend every single lash from root to tip. And the lightweight bamboo-infused formula makes lashes feel weightless. Now in 8 bold shades so you can take your lashes to new heights every day. Visit Maybelline.com to shop Sky High Mascara now.
When the holidays start to feel a bit repetitive, reach for a Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry and put your twist on tradition. A bold cranberry and winter spice flavor fusion, Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry is a refreshing way to shake things up this sipping season. And only for a limited time. Sprite. Obey your thirst.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. You're ready to move your business forward, but first, you need to find the right team. Start your search with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It can help you reach qualified candidates fast, ensuring your listing is the first one they see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs are 90% more likely to report a hire than non-sponsored jobs. See the results for yourself. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome to another episode of YAOK. If you're hearing my voice, that is producer Matt's voice, that means that one of the two hosts of YAOK was not available for this interview. And it was Alyssa. Hello, Eric.
Of course it was Alyssa. It's always fucking Alyssa.
Listen.
Alyssa's so busy just doing things that...
When you have...
Vacations. I mean, I was on vacation too, so...
Yeah,
but like,
listen,
that was last week. We didn't have
That was last week. We didn't have a recording. Listen, when you're a well-respected person and former reality show star, like, you're in high demand, Eric. Why don't you should have more trips that you have to do for work. I think you're the problem.
I should have more trips. I think that I should have more trips all the time. I want to have more trips. HarperCollins, send me places.
Yeah, let's make that the goal for 2026 this year. Send Eric more places.
Send Eric more places.
But we are doing a Christmas episode. It's an episode that I've been wanting us to do for a very long time because a friend of mine wrote a book that became a movie that I think is like a modern Christmas classic. Eric, who are we talking to today?
We're talking to Kevin Jakubowski. And look,
Kevin wrote 8-Bit Christmas, which you can watch the movie version on HBO Max. I highly recommend it. One of my favorite Christmas films of the last 10 years. And the book is great too. And we dive into why Kevin made this his first novel after a couple years as a successful screenplay writer, and how that still led to a film version of his book being made.
I love the kind of gamut of like different ways people write that come on this show, because I don't think we have ever had anybody where it's been exactly the same. Like, there's little bits and pieces that are kind of mix and matchy, but we have never had anybody who writes exactly the same as another person that has been on the show.
Yeah, that is extremely true. And something that I agree with. I think it's a great interview. It'll maybe get you a little bit into the holly jolly season, but more importantly, I think it'll just make you love Kevin as much as Eric and I loved Kevin. So let's go to that interview.
5 long years, our lives like magnetic fields. You are my universe. You are my universe, and I'm just a planet.
Hey, Kevin. Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well, Eric. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about this. This was something that when I first saw like the movie for it announced, I was like immediately drawn into it. And I hadn't even realized that there was a book that was like a YA book for it. So I'm so excited to get to talk to you. First, can you just tell us a little bit about 8-Bit Christmas?
Sure, yeah. It's started as a book. Well, it actually started as a short story, but that's a whole long other thing. It's about...
We can get into that.
I was going to say, we love long other things here at YAOK.
Right.
That's our specialty.
So it's about a 9-year-old kid in suburban Chicago sometime in the late 80s who just really, really, really wants a Nintendo for Christmas. And it's about sort of this, Herculean quest that he goes through to try to get one. And really the book and the movie are just about remembering what it's like to be a kid at Christmas.
Yeah. I feel like that's 90% of what I think a good Christmas movie should be, is 90% of like the nostalgia of Christmas, because as we get older, Christmas just doesn't feel the same, but like it will never feel the same as when you're basically 9 years old and all of the magic of Christmas exists, except, then you get older and kind of disappears a little bit.
Yes, and your heart gets hardened and commercialized.
Everybody turns into a Grinch, basically.
Yes. No, but when you're a kid, it's magic, So yeah, the book and the movie are just an attempt to kind of remember what that's like, and if we can all feel like that for a little bit longer than just the Christmas season, we're doing something right, I think. So
yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
What was your inspiration for it? Like, what made you? That was the first impetus that you're like, "Ooh, I want to write this. This is a good idea."
Yeah, I think like I alluded to, it started as a short story when I was in college. Actually, I think I got a B on it, but it was about a kid. It was based on something that had happened to me when I was probably 7 or 8. My mom bought me a pair of boots that were actually girls' boots, and at the time that was probably not the thing to be walking around in the late 80s as a boy at that time. And so I had these boots and I had to wear them. I'm from Chicago, or outside of Chicago. And in the winters, it was very cold, and you had to wear your boots to go outside. Otherwise, you couldn't go to recess and you'd get in trouble. So I had to wear these boots, but not let anyone see me in these boots. And I would just hide somewhere on the playground. And so
what were the boots? Paint the picture for me.
They
what did they look like?
They weren't even that bad, but I think in terms of, they were light red, but they were Esprit, and Esprit was like this very it was like a girl fashion, like a French girl fashion, like the really 1980s. That was the thing. I'm trying to think of an equivalent now, and I'm too old to even think of an equivalent. But I had these boots, and I kind of liked them, and then I realized that they were made by this company, and I was like, oh no, I'm dead. So I'm going to get beat up. And so this was just a fictionalized version of that story about this kid and his buddy who comes and sits with him and hangs out with him behind this dumpster every day at recess, while everyone else is having fun, and he's just sitting there hiding in his girl's boots. But that character became the character in 8-Bit Christmas, this kid, and that's one of the things that he had to go through. And so the inspiration came from that, which is something I went through, and I just love Christmas, and just had these great Christmases as a kid, and the characters in the book are loosely based on my family. They're exaggerated versions of that. My little sister was way smarter than me, so that's a character. My dad was constantly, remodeling the house and never quite finishing it, so that's a character. My mom loved cutting coupons. That's in, so stuff like that, and that's kind of how it came about. That's where the inspiration came from, just my childhood.
Kevin,
how'd your family react to being characters in your book? Because that's always something I'm curious about.
Yes, I'm sure. I want to hear if you do the same. Oh
yeah, absolutely. I think every writer puts even if it's not their whole personality, it's you're taking little bits of everybody, and I think that people will definitely pick up when you're reading a book and you're like, is this supposed to be a little bit based on me?
Yeah.
And you go, no.
Yeah. And I think those are because that's so specific, right? That's what makes, your voice as a writer unique, is that you're able to tap into those very specific things. And, when you do it, I've been a professional writer now for almost 20 years. It's now they if somebody's not in a movie script or something, they're like, why am I not in here? What about me?
Well, Kevin, I want to ask, because before 8-Bit Christmas, you had already written for film and television and had stuff produced. Was the original was the original nugget of 8-Bit Christmas to be a film, and then you went in the book direction, or did you want to break away from screenplay writing specifically to write a book, and then by happenstance it ended up becoming another movie on the resume as well?
No, that's a very good question. It was a little bit of everything, but I became a screenwriter, and that was always my goal. And so I had sold some things, and had a couple things made, and I was being hired to write scripts, which was great. It was a dream come true, but they weren't getting made. And I always had this idea for this movie called 8-Bit Christmas, and I thought the best way that I could make that happen at that time was to write it as a book first, and to have that IP and own that. And people in Hollywood, in the film industry, you just need somebody to say this is cool,
Yeah.
And until you do, so with a book, you can point to it and say, this is cool, before there's even a movie. And then whoever says this is cool doesn't have to worry about getting fired for saying this is cool. So there's a book that you could look at. And so the potential of a good book becoming a movie is a lot higher than you just look at the script and like, okay, here's the movie. But sometimes the potential for something to be good has a much greater value than the actual story itself. So when you have a book, for whatever bizarre, messed up reason, that has more leverage sometimes than actually having the script. So I wrote it as a book. I was very happy with it. Also, as I'm sure you guys, in your writing and stuff, like as I had more creative control of that book than I would have as right off as a script. So I could just, and then with a book, it wasn't going to sit on some development exec's shelf for 10 years or some studio's shelf or whatever. Like with the book, like people could read it. So that was very appealing to me. And a few years passed, and I was approached by some producers, some good, some not so good, and ended up being approached by a couple producers in about 2018, I think. They're like, we love this book, we want to make this into a movie. And I was like, yes, so do I. Here's how I would do it. Turn that into a pitch, and with the book, pitched a couple places, one called Star Thrower Entertainment, who had been doing some really great stuff, and they optioned my pitch. I wrote the script on spec, and then I owned both the script and the book, and we were able to take it to market and make the movie that way, which gave me a lot more creative control rather than selling it right away and then they're like, see you later. So it was a long process, but very fortunate with how it turned out.
I'm glad that it went through the process that it did and that it succeeded. As you know, Kevin, because you've been on it, I have a Christmas podcast as well where we, every week we talk about Christmas. And we recently were discussing how, maybe Elf is like the last modern classic, right? Like the one that everyone unanimously agrees is great. And we were talking about what films in the last 10 years, if they weren't on streaming and had a big theatrical push, do we think would be held up in that same caliber as the next Elf? And I truly think 8-Bit Christmas is in that conversation, because I've never shown that movie to someone who didn't walk away loving it and wanting it to be part of their yearly watch. I truly think it's 8-Bit Christmas, Spirited with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds, and Claus. If those three films got giant theatric releases, we would talk about them the same way we talk about Elf, as this is one where the whole family gets around every year and we watch it, and because it's a good family story. It's got heart. I can't watch it without crying at the end. The ending is so beautiful, and a lot of that is on the page. A lot of the stuff that you know and love in the movie is right there on the page. There's very little that got changed. There is one giant change I'm not sure if we want to talk about or not. Understandably, the fate of a dog gets shifted from
that's one change. Yes. Yes, I can't kill dogs on screen. It's a big no-no. That makes everyone automatically get angry or sad for the wrong reasons.
That's why there's the website doesthedogdie.com. Isn't that what it is?
Oh man,
it tells you whether or not the dog lives. Does the dog live? I think it says the dog live.
I want to see what it says for 8-Bit Christmas, if it has like a warning in there.
Wow. No, that was the first note I knew I was going to get from the studio. And, to their credit, that's one of those things where like, yes, it's better for the dog not to die. But you had to create a scenario where there was something so horrible happens that the town wants to ban Nintendo, So the dog at least has to get violently injured for that to happen. So
I know that this was published in 2013, right?
Yeah.
And then usually the what is it? The process to turn a book into a movie, I know usually it's pretty long. So this 8-Bit Christmas finally came out in 2021. Was it kind of in a little bit of that like development hell area from like 2013, or was it like, did it jump off? It just took a little bit of time for you to kind of get it together to pitch to somebody.
It kind of, I wasn't really, I had written the book and like, I was like, all right, that's it. And I'm going to come back to this when it's right. And like I said, I've been approached a couple times from some folks and it just wasn't quite right. And I met these two producers, Nick Nantel and Jonathan Sadowski, who just really championed the book. And from then it was relatively quick. But it was a long time from being published to getting that interest or deciding to do something with it. I also wanted to establish myself a bit more, so I had a bit more credibility before, trying to make this movie. But in terms of the speed at which it happened, as soon as I wrote the script, it was very fast. It would have been within like a few months actually, but the pandemic happened. So we were supposed to shoot. This is like perfect luck for me. We were supposed to shoot like March 18th of 2020, and like the world ended like whatever it was, March 14th. And so I was like, okay, great.
Eric might have a similar story there.
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
That was my debut. All That's Left in the World. It's sold on March 13th, and it's a post-apocalyptic romance where a super flu wipes out the world's population.
Oh, man.
I went on submission with it with my editors, I think February of 2020, and it sold March 13th, which is like the day of Trump did the friggin' press conference in the Rose Garden, where it was like, oh, maybe we can inject sunlight and stuff like that. And I was just like, Jesus Christ, we're fucked. My dream just came true. We're fucked, man.
So wait, so that's when the book came out?
No, that was when it sold.
Okay, when it sold. Oh man.
Like it didn't come out for 2 more years after that because my publisher was like, we're gonna wait for this all to die down a little bit, and then it just kept going, and I was like, oh great, it's never coming out.
Man.
Cool.
This is what I want to ask you, because I know how I felt at that time. Like, was the world so, like, everything was so scary that you were just like, okay, I can put this on the back burner? Like, I'll just worry about the world right now? Or was it just like, did it really just compound on like the book not coming out now? Like, what was going through your head?
It was still early. So in my head, I was like, maybe we'll like figure out a way to get through it. But I just kind of like sat there for a little bit. As soon as I got off the phone with my agent, they had announced that Philly is where I live, that Philly was going to be shutting down, I think on like Monday, because they wanted everybody to have the St. Patty's Day weekend to go out and just get COVID. But like in my head, I'm like, well, I don't know if grocery stores are going to be open. I was like, I got to go to the grocery store. This sucks. I can't celebrate like an actual dream milestone happening.
Wow.
And also the world might be ending. Who knows? This book could be real and then nobody's ever going to see it. So it was just kind of, I was excited, but also so bummed because I couldn't properly celebrate. And then it just kind of, the longer it went on, the more I was like, okay, well, the world's not ending at least.
Right. We're still here.
I just have to be patient. So.
And do you think afterward the fact that, it was about a pandemic, do you think that helped or hurt? Yeah.
It definitely did, because
Yeah.
I think everybody still, when it came out in 2022, I think it was a better sell for everybody, because everybody had we'd gone through it and things were getting better. So people who were still interested in, like all the people who basically watched Contagion while they were locked down in 2020 kind of went out and were like, oh, maybe I'll check out this book. And I really do think that if it were not for COVID, it probably would not have sold as well as it did. Because I'm a debut novelist.
Yeah.
HarperCollins isn't going to put any kind of marketing budget behind a debut author. So I just kind of think word of mouth helped it a lot. And yeah.
That's good. So it was a blessing.
Yeah. I always think that things happen for a reason. Hopefully, I would imagine, but who knows? So.
Oh, that's good. In my experience, it was just worried about everything. I was about to have a second kid, and my daughter was like 2.5, and so I was just like, all right, I'm not thinking about the movie right now. And also, like, there was no movie in the world being shot, so I was like, hey, this is happening to everybody. It's okay. And then it eventually came back, which was good, but it took a whole other year of just please God, let this happen.
Once they figured out how to actually make movies while still protecting people.
Yeah. Which was its
own. I'm glad that because I know there's a lot of movies that got canceled around that time, and I'm glad that this one still managed. They were like, you know what, no, we're still going to try and do this. If anything, I think we need this movie now, because come Christmas 2021, the holiday season, I think we're going to need something good to be coming out. So
I think you're right. I think that helped it a lot, just the type of movie it was. And, we were I think the first people shooting in Toronto, when we could. And it was a strange time to make a movie, that's for sure.
Yeah. And release it, because I know it was released on HBO Max, which I feel like probably for you, it's less exciting, because it's like, oh man, I can't go to a theater with my family and see this. But at the time, I was kind of thankful that we were able to still see new things, even though maybe, I think by that point I might have been going back to theaters. I'm not sure. I remember, I think the first movie I saw back in movie theaters was maybe Halloween Kills, and it was me and my friend John, and that was it. It was
and the whole thing.
It was the Friday it came out, completely empty theater. It was just the two of us. I was like, oh, I'm not that scared at all. Cool.
This is great.
Great.
Yeah. I mean, so many movies just did not, like Dune. Dune came out, that there was no theatrical release. King Richard, just all these movies that just had no theatrical release. Bizarrely, 8-Bit Christmas did play theatrically in Germany somehow. So I don't know what was going on in Germany, but I was like, all right.
They love Christmas over there.
How did it do in Germany? I have
no idea. I mean, it was, but contractually, if it plays theaters, I'm like, I get some dough. So I was like, yes.
Nice.
Because it was not supposed to in the States. There were literally no movies playing in November of 2021. So yeah. Anyway,
it was a rare win in the middle of COVID there.
Yeah. It was good. It was good. That's for sure.
Now, do you ever see yourself going back to the world of YA and writing a follow-up book?
Yeah, I actually during the writers' strike, the Writers Guild was on strike a couple of years ago for a long time, and since I couldn't work on anything, TV or film really, or at least nothing that wasn't speculative. I went back and I've been working on the sequel to this, which is called 8-Bit Vacation, which is about the Game Boy. And just it's sort of a love story of the girl in the book. Her name's Katie Sorrentino, who ends up having the same girl's boots as Jake, and they get married in the movie. So it's about his sort of how he falls in love with her. So I've been working on that. Just been too busy with movie stuff to really get back to it. But I'm hoping to again soon. It'd be great. One way or another, I'll write that book. It might take me another 10 years, but that's it.
Well, hopefully not. I mean, I mean, I don't want there to be like another strike or pandemic, but maybe if there's like, I don't know, a movie that you're on set for or something, and you have to be there for it, and maybe there's a really a kind of over the top actor who just won't come out of the trailer, and you're just like, all right, maybe I'll just work on this
right now. Yeah. And
that's
also,
what I'm hoping for.
It's also, I'm not as good at it. Like I'm a much better screenwriter than I am a novelist. So I'm constantly being like, man, I don't have the chops for this yet, you know. So it takes me a while to get back into it, and these are all great excuses, right? You know, great excuses.
Have you written a screenplay for like 8-Bit Vacation?
No, we pitched a version of the sequel to Warner Brothers, a New Line, a couple years ago. It didn't happen. We thought it might for a bit, but it didn't. So I did write some pages for that, but not for this 8-Bit Vacation version. It would be cool. I you know, I don't think you could get the same actors by the time I finish it.
I only ask because I have a friend who started out as a screenwriter and now has several novels out, but his first drafts of every book he writes now are always a screenplay.
I bet.
Because that's how he learned. And then what he does is he'll take the screenplay out of like final draft, remove the formatting and everything, and he'll start adding in like internal monologue or just different like scene things that he didn't put in the screenplay. Because in the screenplay, you're not writing the same amount of stage directions because the director does that. Like,
right.
And the actor is choosing how to deliver things.
Right.
But he's like, when I'm writing it, I'm the director, I'm the actor, I'm all of it. And I already have this. So I put it in book form.
That's smart.
So
That's smart.
If it's easier for you to write screenplay, do a first draft of that and then go back into it and just kind of see where you get internal and kind of flesh it out a little bit more.
I was actually going to ask if 8-Bit did have a screenplay before you went to the book, or did you just from the get-go know that you were going to write this as a book first?
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything. And like, I certainly thought of it and wrote it as a screenplay first, you know, just because that's how I you know, exactly what you're saying, Eric, like that's just how I thought of things. And, you know, you get a sense of the structure that way, right? You know, you get a much better story sense of it. And that's just kind of how my brain worked. And, you know, eventually just got to the point where I was like, but I should write this as a book. Which was just fun. You know, it's different when you're doing one thing for a long time. It's just fun to like switch to something else.
That's actually how I started writing novels, was because I also was a screenwriter. And I worked for a small indie production company where I was doing their, the script coverage for every script that came through.
Yeah.
And because they were an independent producer, their budgets were like really low, so every script that came through, they like taught me how to look for what budget it would be, and like, so I somehow got that in my head when I was writing screenplays, where I was like, oh, if I don't want to do this scene because it might be too expensive, and I was kind of already stopping myself from making this creative movie because I was just thinking about budget already. And so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to write a book like with chapters, and it's going to be huge, and I don't have to worry about budget at all, because if it ever is published and somebody wants to turn it into a movie, that's their problem.
That's their problem.
Don't have to worry about it.
Oh, that's great.
I mean, it took me 10 years because screenplays, I had already known how to make screenplays, but writing a novel is very different. So it took me 10 years to basically learn how to write a novel that didn't have a lot of what's it called? Like a lot of like just soggy middles everywhere. Because when you're writing a screenplay, it's like, all right, you know, by page 30, this has to happen. By page 60, this has to happen. By page 90, this has to be over. And when you do that at the book, it's more word count. But even when you're doing that, it kind of messes up the flow of the story. So it's best to just kind of not even think about any of it. And throw out most of the screenplay writing advice that you have in your head.
Isn't that interesting though? I mean, that's so cool that like that informed how you would write a novel, you know, like just to get that that story sense down. And
I feel like even now, when I'm writing a book, I specifically will make bigger things happen because I'm like, fuck budgets, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm going to make the entire world end and no one's going to even care. It's great.
Spaceships, lots of spaceships.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun.
Big explosions. They'll be like, this is a rom-com, Eric. What are you doing?
In Walmart's Huluville, time was ticking away. Only a few nights left till the big holiday. But last-minute gifters had no need to worry. Walmart Express Delivery got their gifts in a hurry. From Nintendo to Nespresso and Lego flowers, they could check off their lists in as fast as an hour. All of Huluville, East, West, South, and North, could order gifts up until 5 p.m. on December 24th. So this holiday, just do as the Who's do. With gift delivery this fast, they all gasped. From Walmart, who knew? Subject to availability, terms and fees apply.
Jason, Disney asked me to do this podcast thing. I need some advice.
You've got to have banger guests.
Walker and Leah. Daniel Deemer.
Tim Simons.
Adam Copeland.
You're the one asking the questions.
How? Why?
And they better answer.
I don't know anything.
Epic.
This season is just makeup.
Quest.
I'm Arian Samhadri. Welcome to the Percy Jackson and the Olympians official podcast.
Available wherever you get your podcasts. And watch season 2 of Percy Jackson streaming now on Disney Plus and Hulu. Learn more at disneyplus.com/whatson.
This episode is brought to you by Greenlight. Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/Spotify. Greenlight.com/Spotify.
REI Co-op presents a perfect outdoor moment with the perfect gift. Picture this. You're ripping with your favorite person. Bluebird skies, blower powder, and frankly, you're skiing like legends.
So sick. Another lap?
Thanks to REI's curation, from lid to sticks, you nailed the gift.
No way. How'd you know?
Does it get more perfect than that? Give without guessing. Shop in store or visit rei.com.
Here's my 30-second story with Guinness. As soon as my sister and I get home for the holidays, we don't even unpack. We head straight to our pub. The bartender already knows our order, Guinness and fries. We laugh all night, catch up with old friends, and walk home with faces sore from smiling. It's one of my favorite nights of the year. That was my 30-second story with Guinness.
Guinness Draft Stout. Please enjoy responsibly. Imported by Diageo Beer Company, USA, New York, New York.
Put down that smartphone and listen to me. I'm Matthew Milligan, professional musician and lifelong Weird Al fan. Each week, I'm joined by professional podcaster and close personal friend Matt Kelly to take a dive off the deep end into the vast career of pop culture icon Weird Al Yankovic on our show, Weird Algorithm. Along with some very special guests from the worlds of music and comedy, we tackle every song, every television appearance, and every bit of sketch comedy Al has produced in chronological order, covering the good old days of My Bologna and Eat It, the fun zone of tacky and white and nerdy, and everything in between. As we go, we're ranking the songs, albums, and music videos in the hopes of creating the ultimate guide to a career bigger than the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota. So the next time you're having one of those days, stuck in a traffic jam, wondering why does this always happen to me, just kick off your sneakers and stick around for a while because we've got it all on Weird Algorithm, available wherever you get your podcasts. And now you know. Was that enough references?
You know, Kevin, also, 8-Bit Christmas is your first novel. And at least according to IMDb, I know that, in the actual world, there's probably tons of uncredited writing that happens leading up to this. But your first credited writing on IMDb is the assassination of a high school president, which also is, if that was a book, it would be classified as a YA novel. It takes place in a high school. Is there something that you find charming when you're writing? Like, is there something that draws you to writing high school age characters or middle school age characters that you feel like you get to have a little bit more fun with than if you were just writing about adults all the time?
Yeah, I don't know. I had an agent once who was like, yeah, but you write mostly young characters. You should do this. And I was like, no, I don't. And then I was like, oh, yeah, I do. I do write mostly young characters. I hadn't thought of that. I don't know. I think I've always just been fascinated by high school. or just the school system in general. I think even from a kind of laziness standpoint, like if it's in high school, you know what that is going to entail. You know you need some type of teacher or authority figure in the story. You know that like there's kids like this, or you know that you have to be in class. Like it just, I don't know. It helped organize a way to put a story together because there were some parameters to it. I don't know. The idea of assassination of a high school president came when I was watching the movie JFK, and I thought, what if something like as ridiculous, as huge as this, as a real president getting assassinated, happened in high school? Like the things that happen, but it's not a real assassination. It's just about like a student body election. But when you're in high school, like that student body election is as big of a deal as if like the real president got assassinated. So it's taking those heightened feelings you have as a kid. I think it's not easy, but it works really well if you do it right, to take those heightened things and treat them very seriously. And there's a lot of comedy that comes from that.
I think that's what made that show American Vandal so damn funny,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
it's like they're going for that true crime podcast docuseries angle, but it's, drawing dicks on a car.
yeah.
But like they treat it so deathly serious.
Yes.
Like the whole time is the comedy. I think that there's also just a relatability to high school. I always think back to like one of my favorite movies ever made was Can't Hardly Wait.
Yeah.
And that's a movie now where in my 40s I can still put it on and be like, oh, I remember the guys in school that were like that. Like there is this thing where there is this weird nostalgia when you watch a film about high school kids, whether it's from the past or in modern times, where the dynamics of high school never change, even if the personalities and fashion do.
Exactly.
You're like, yep, I remember that. I remember how that felt.
Yeah, that's totally true. And there's just something fascinating about that. So I guess that's where my head goes. I created a series on Nickelodeon that was set in middle school. I created another series that was set in high school. Like I don't know why I keep the stuff I've been doing lately isn't that, but yeah, like I just am fascinated by it. And there's such an opportunity to just come up with great characters. And I mean, Eric, is that why do you think you do a lot of YA stuff?
I agree. I think it's because for me, I do a lot of YA because I, as a queer kid growing up, I didn't have books like this to read.
Yeah.
So I specifically was like, it's always kind of like I want to write the books that I wanted to read when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But a lot of my readers are adults. And I think that there are adults who are looking for books about the high school, like not even high school experience, because that would just mean, it only takes place in the high school. I just mean like that age group, because it is like, I mean, everything is more heightened. Like you said, it's everything in high school is life or death, because you, at that age, it's all you know. It's like, my whole life has been kind of protected for me by my parents and curated. And now as going into like being an adult, your last 4 years of school, it's like, okay, well, you're kind of on your own. So everything does feel more important. Like I have my second book, Lose You to Find Me. I have a lot of teens who read it, and their biggest sticking point with it, the reason that they're like, I'm so mad at this book, is because they say I put a home wrecking plot line in. And in their defense, yes, there's a scene where he has a crush on a boy who happens to have a boyfriend, but that boyfriend's a piece of shit, number one. Number two, there is no home to wreck. They're 17 years old.
Right.
They don't own a house together. They don't have kids.
That's funny.
And I'm like, it reminds me, I'm like, right, because they're not realizing that I am writing this as an adult looking back on the things and being like, this is what I wish I knew back then. They're reading it like, I'm reading about my experience. And how dare this guy ruin these two people's relationship that was definitely going to last more than the
6
next
months.
month or two.
Yes.
Eric, do you, because, Kevin, your book is based in the 80s where you grew up. So you're pulling from your your own past. Eric, when you're writing your books, because, well, some of your books take place in the present and some of them take place in the not so distant future. But like, do you feel like you're kind of forced to keep up to date with like the current slang and what's popular? Because as a person who works with teenagers, they will call out if it's inauthentic so fast.
Yeah, I try not to, because especially now, like slang and everything changes so fast. 6'7's already
6'7",
dead, I think.
yeah.
I think that people aren't even saying anymore. So I don't want to do it because I don't.
Can you tell that to the 2 kids who live in my house that no one's saying 6'7" anymore?
Well, listen, just because the younger kids are doing it. The older kids have moved on.
Gotcha.
The ones that are reading my books have moved on.
I'm stuck with the 10 and the 8-year-olds who are very much attached to it.
I mean, I feel like they're probably still saying skibbity toilet.
Oh, boy, are they. Boy, do they.
Yeah. That's because the little kids just parrot stuff.
Yeah.
Sure.
Teenagers are the ones that are creating all of this, and they know when it gets played out, and they're like, nah, we're not going to do that one anymore.
Yeah.
At least unironically. If they want to get into the irony of it, that's when they'll start bringing it out again. I try not to do specific social media, which I'm glad I didn't do because of Twitter falling apart now. And I try not to do slang just because I feel like that will... I don't mind like if a book is dated. I do believe that books should be a product of the time that they are written in. So with Lose You to Find Me, I think that is a book that takes place in 2024, I think.
Yeah.
And it will always take place in 2024. And I think for the next maybe 10 years or so, I could get away with it not being dated. But after that, I think people are going to be like, oh, well, this was obviously from back then, because nobody has implants in their brains that record everything anymore.
Yeah. And Kevin, for you, with like the writing for like shows where the characters are middle schoolers and high schoolers, do you feel like you need to like know what's happening in their lives for that? Or do you just kind of try to lean into like, all right, well, here's the universal things, regardless if this is being written by a 16-year-old or a 66-year-old, like everyone can relate to this moment.
Well, I think, I mean, for me, specificity is huge. Like the more specific you are, the more universal you become. And you know, if that's something that's set right now, you need to be specific for right now as much as you can. So like I'm writing a movie for Netflix right now, which there's a 14-year-old girl in it. And like, I had this plot point and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if people communicate this way. And I had to email some of my wife's friends who are teachers, and they're like, yeah, they don't do it this way, you idiot. And then I had to like redo like the whole thing. And I was so mad because it messed up like this plot point that I had that like only worked with texting, but I had to change it to Instagram. So, you know, I think you have to try for that, right? If it gets distracting, I don't think it's worth it. You know, if it like takes you out of it. But if there's a way to be specific about it, and I think that's less even time, you know, what era it is, more in like location and what are those characters' vernacular, you know, like those things are important. So I try to list. I think that is important. So I aim for it as much as I can.
I think that's the way you do it, because you, like you said, Matt, with it's authenticity that people are kind of picking up on. Even if you are having a kid who is texting something and somebody might be like, oh, well, you don't use text anymore, you use Instagram DMs. It's like, not always. Some kids are going to text for some reason. So, but I think as long as you have that kind of baseline of authenticity where whatever, like the plot point is, that it is like, would this happen right now in this time period, this way or this way? And just kind of like figuring out the most authentic way to present that is probably the way to go about it, I think.
Yeah, agreed. So we solved that problem, guys. It's good.
All right, what's the
and
next?
I'm sure that there's going to be like, if a teenager listens to this, they're going to be like, these old guys have no clue what the fuck they're talking
dork.
about. Which, granted, I agree. We don't.
I don't. I remind myself that every day.
I literally just this week, I do like tech for a local church, and we were having a meeting of like, all right, how do we bring this church into the future? And I was like, well, for starters, you only have a Facebook. And I'm like, and nobody under the age of 30 uses Facebook sincerely. Yes. So we need to build an Instagram. like step one, here's an easy one that costs you nothing. Make an Instagram account.
Yes. Good move.
Don't even try to jump the gun and make them have a TikTok account.
We're not. They are not ready. They are not ready. We're doing the soft launch on the Instagram first.
Soft launch the Instagram like that. Kevin, Matt, do you have any more questions for Kevin?
No, I think we can get into the big two questions we always have to ask everybody. Yeah.
So our first question it's about the writing process. There's a plotter or pantser. I'm going with plotter or pantser just because the other one gets a lot into the weeds, a lot of like just trying to figure out a way to describe it. But basically plotters have an outline. They figure out the whole beginning, middle, and end of the story, and then they start writing it. Pantser is writing by the seat of their pants. They have the idea and maybe the ending, and then they just kind of see what happens. Which one?
I'm probably more of a plotter.
Most people are.
Yeah, it's just helpful, right? I think earlier in my career, I was more of a fly by the seat of my pants. I do think the one thing that I always need, no matter what, is that ending. What is that ending? Even if that changes, like I just know that that's what I'm going towards. Sometimes I'll go overboard, especially on a screenplay where I'm just like outlining and I'm like, I gotta stop this and get into it because, as you're writing, that's when those good ideas really come, at least in my experience. Like a good idea writing is going to beget another good idea and get another good idea. And if you're just thinking too much in theory, your characters aren't going to quite work. So it's a bit of a hybrid, but I would say I would lean more on plot. What about you?
I feel like I'm one of the chaotic pantsers, but nice. now that I have contracts and I have due dates for the books, I have to have an outline, and then my publisher has to approve the book before they even buy it, so I have to send them an outline. And I will say it does actually, unfortunately, it does make it a lot easier to write the book.
Is it Anna?
I've learned how to get around certain things. If it's not working, like sometimes my outline, it'll be like just a message. I just want to get this out. You guys have the general idea. This is how it begins and ends. What do you think? And they'll be like, okay, yeah, we'll buy it, but we need you to do some work. I'm like, yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course I will. Yeah.
Was it Anna that we had on who writes the entire book by the seat of her pants, and then as soon as she finishes it, she deletes the entire book and just starts over again?
The whole thing. Which, can I tell you, so I have, I just got a new book that I went under contract with, and I wrote about 80,000 words of it, and I updated my Microsoft Word yesterday, for some reason, it just wiped whatever I had, and I had a panic attack for probably about 15 minutes until I got to log into whatever their online cloud thing is on the internet, through the web browser. And I saw it was there. I was like crying because they had already read like the first, I think, 15,000 words, and that's what they bought it based on. But I had done so much more work on it. It was almost done. I was like 20,000 words away from the ending, and I could not find it. And I was in a cafe trying not to scream.
Oh my God.
Like, tears were like falling down my face. I'm like, please fucking be here.
Oh my God. I would have lost control of myself. Yeah.
I can't do it. I would much rather have like a messy first draft that I can cut things out of and save in another. I will cut out hundreds of thousands of words of different drafts and save it in another Word doc that says title of book, deleted stuff, and I will never delete it forever. And Anna just deletes the whole thing and then goes into the recycling bin and empties it completely.
That's bonkers.
Yeah, psychotic behavior. Psychotic behavior.
Yeah. I can't.
I can't. I save everything. I have to have every little thing.
I remember just being that episode. I wasn't even on the mic. I was just producing behind the scenes, and I think I like threw up in my mouth for a second when you said that. I was like, "That is the most unhinged behavior I think I've ever heard."
Wow. I mean, that's ballsy. Good for her. I mean, like that. Wow, that's impressive.
And she's fairly prolific too at the same time, so I can't imagine how many dead drafts there are out there. But
I mean, wow, there's no way. I don't have, like, especially with the novel. What that was like, this is it. There were no rewrites. Like, this is the thing. Because that's hard, man. Wow.
But it's okay. I've got it. Thank God.
Good.
Kevin, the other question we always ask everybody before we wrap up is, what are you reading? What are you reading right now? What are you enjoying?
What am I reading? That's a great question. I'm reading, it's called The Cubs, The Story of a Curse. It's about the Chicago Cubs. It's by an author named Rich Cohen, who wrote another book called Pee-wee's, which is about his son's like Pee-wee hockey team. He also co-created Vinyl, which was that show I think on HBO, which was actually pretty good.
Oh yeah.
But it's about the story of the Cubs curse. And that's something I'm writing, working on right now for a different project. But I love the Chicago Cubs. I'd never read this book before, and so I'm reading that. It's a really good book.
I love sports curses.
Yes.
I'm not a fan of sports, but I love a good sports curse. Anytime fans are like freaking out about it, and there's like, "Oh, we're cursed. I'm like,
yes,
I love
exactly.
that. I get some whimsy, you know.
I was gonna say that I'm someone who doesn't really watch sports, but man, do I love a good like sports drama or like a sports history book, a sports movie. Like I'll watch that and absolutely be enthralled. Like one of my favorite films of the last like 20 years was Moneyball. I was like, I think this movie's fascinating. Really I could not care less about the sport or like that world. But
I talk about this all the time because one of the last things I sold was a sports movie, and you know, the best sports movies are never about the sport.
No,
you know? They're just a way to just cinematically put some. You know, there are stakes. There are inherent stakes to every game, and they just work so well, especially in movies. But you know, the Hoosiers is about living in a small town. You know what I mean? Like they're always about something besides the sport.
It's like sort of a sports movie, but not really. But like not knowing anything about basketball and not knowing about famous basketball games made watching Uncut Gems dramatically more stressful than if I had already known what the outcome of that game was.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like so. And apparently, the story that I've heard is that Sandler didn't know how that game ended.
Oh, wow.
So the Safdie brothers didn't tell him. And that there's apparently footage of him in character for the entire duration of that game. Just watching it. And like in real time, they didn't tell him quite what was going to happen to his character at the end of the movie. So they could get like him in character genuinely being like, I might get out of this.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's amazing. I didn't know that at all.
Talk about a movie that I loved and will probably never watch again because I don't like how it makes me feel.
Yeah. And I'm weird. I've seen that movie like 3 times and I have no idea why I put myself through it.
I'm talking about it and I'm feeling clammy.
Yeah. But I love it. It's a great movie. Yeah. Wow, very stressful.
That's one I have not seen, so I feel like I should watch it now.
Eric.
It's a very good movie.
Yeah, that is, I would literally put it on the same, it's a completely different movie, but the same way I felt leaving Hereditary is how I felt leaving Uncut Gems, where I was like, I have felt every emotion known to man over the last 2 hours of watching that movie, and I just want to like, put on a rom-com and just relax. I need to watch something that's got like the dramatic tension of a Gilmore Girls episode now because I've just been put through the ringer.
It's a rough one, start to finish.
Well, Kevin,
so I'm glad that I didn't rush out. And see.
So you're fine.
It'll stay on my list.
Don't ruin your Friday. You'll be fine.
But hey, if you want to ruin a Monday, it's a good one.
Yeah, it's good.
Perfect. I love ruining Mondays.
Kevin, if people have really enjoyed this conversation and want to follow you for all of the projects that you're working on, where's the best place for them to do that?
Oh man, I am not good at this. I'm off everything under the sun. I have a website that I don't think I've updated since like 2008, but it is kevin-jakubowski.com. Good luck spelling Jakubowski.
I'm currently on your website, by the way, just because I was doing some research, and I have to say my favorite thing about your website is that it's not exactly the most professional looking website on the planet, but it says your name in big letters across the top, and then the tag underneath it is author, television and film writer, and maker of shoddy websites.
that says it all. That says it all.
I was like, that is so fucking funny to put that as like the first thing you see on the website.
Thanks,
and
man.
Don't worry, it's been updated since 2021
so
you're good.
Okay, good. Good. That's good.
I think once every 5 years you're in the clear.
That's all right. I'll get updating the website as soon as we hang up here because I need to.
I got to update mine.
I should look at yours and see how I can do it. I'm sure it's better than
just
mine.
copy the whole website and change Eric J. Brown to your name and call it
perfect.
Yeah, but leave my books up there because there is a little thing that has all the pictures of my books. Leave them there.
Okay, I'll leave. Okay, that's good. Well, it'll be a hybrid now. Very confusing hybrid.
Just awesome. It'll be extra promo for my books.
Perfect. I'm glad we cleared it. We've solved so many problems. This is great.
This is perfect. This is a great episode.
Great.
Who needs Alyssa?
That's what we say every time she's not here.
Yeah.
Every time she's not here, I talk shit on her to see if she listens to the episode, and I haven't heard anything yet. So I'm free to do it.
She's not listening. Then there you go.
Kevin, it was great talking with you. Thank you for coming on.
Eric and Matt, thank you.
I'm excited to see anything else that you come out with. I can't wait. So.
Thank you. Hopefully
and I'm excited
next year.
for APIC vacation. I know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Write the screenplay first and then turn it into the book.
That's a good idea. I probably should.
When she asked me how far we can take it, I tell her we can take it across the entire universe. You are my universe, not just a planet.
What do we tell you? How do you not love that guy? Just a charming man.
I feel like we should have what's it called? The music that you don't have to pay for. I think we should have that kind of
stock
Christmas music just playing, stock Christmas music just playing in the background during these intro and outros to give us that nostalgic feeling, you know?
Yeah, thank you for throwing more work my way. But Eric, the big question we asked Kevin what he was reading, I want to know what you're reading.
I just finished a book last night that I think I told Alyssa I was reading last time we recorded. It's called Stag Dance. It is a novel and a few short stories about, the novel part is about these illegal loggers in, I think, like the early 1900s, late 1800s. And they're in this illegal logging camp out in the middle of the nowhere. And their foreman decides he's going to have a dance, a stag dance, which is half of the guys are going to pretend to be women. And the other half are going to be just these logging men who are kind of wooing these women up until the dance. And the main character is this basically like 7 foot tall, hideously ugly lumberjack who decides that he wants to volunteer to be one of the women. And it's just about gender and sexuality and this guy kind of discovering all of that in the late 1800s or something. It's very fascinating. At the end of the whole book, though, with the short stories and the novel, I found myself wanting all of the short stories to be longer and I wanted the novel to be shorter, which is weird. Like everything was good. Like all of the stories were good. The novel itself was good. But the whole time I was like, when I finished the short stories, I was like, oh, I want a little bit more. I want more from these characters. I want to know what happens next. I want to know I don't know. I wanted more and then also less, because the lumberjack story was it was really interesting, but the writer, she put a lot of like jargon in it from that time period, so it felt very realistic, but it just wasn't like fun to read. I was looking for, I think, something more. It just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It's a good book, well written, great job. I would suggest people check it out, but let me know if you do, because I want to know if people wanted more from the short stories and less from the novel as well. But what are you reading?
I am almost done a book that I think you recommended to Alyssa and I after we had the author on the show, Sophie Gonzalez, and her book Perfect on Paper, which I've got maybe 50 to 60 pages left to go. I'm loving it. Like,
did Alyssa end up reading that?
I can't remember if she did or not. I think when I went on Goodreads, it was on her want list, but not on her read list. But I mean, it's hard to say. Little spoiler alert for next week, but or for in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we're going to be doing. We're releasing an episode that we had recorded for the Geekscape holiday live stream, which was our personal top 5 books that we read this year. And I think Perfect on Paper is at least on the long list. It's going to take me a while to narrow down what the 5 are, but I am really enjoying my time reading this one.
I got to figure out my 5 too. I've actually been thinking about it for the past like 2 weeks. I'm like, I need to figure out what it is.
It's a lot of pressure.
Especially because it's live. I'm nervous.
Oh, it'll be fine. The audience will just yell at us if we have bad picks.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. But like, it'll be live and then recorded live, so it'll be permanent no matter what. It's like, oh God.
Now, do we have to, Eric? I'm going to give you the opportunity now for this, and then we'll, the listeners will already know how we went with this one way or the other. Do we not include Eric J. Brown books on our lists this year? A, because it technically is going to be a 2016 or 2026 book, and B, because, you're the host of this show and it would be our number ones out of an unbiased opinion.
Yeah, I feel like we leave me off because I think we've done enough promo for my new book, Better the Devil, which comes out January 20th and is available for pre-order right now. I think that I think everybody will be like, yeah, we get it. Like, obviously that is number one, but
for sure,
this is just the rest of the books.
And I
think it's also going to be number one next year as well.
If I'm thinking about our release schedule correctly, I also think that episode in 2 weeks will be the last episode before the book is officially out. So that is also very exciting. But if you are excited about anything, if you just think our book takes are terrible, or you want to tell us what you're currently reading, YAOK Podcast on Instagram is the place to go. If you can't remember it, that's easy enough because we have it in the show notes, along with a link to where you can buy some t-shirts to support the podcast. So thank you as always, and we'll be back in 2 weeks.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.